Welcome back to Between Bells, everyone. I am Baker Machado. Major oil-producing countries have reached a historic deal to cut output. North Dakota, one of America's top producing oil states, actually just behind Texas. So joining us now is North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer. Senator, great to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We got to know, how are these oil workers faring right now, as demand is definitely declining significantly right now?
Well, the oil workers, Baker, and thanks for the opportunity. The oil workers in North Dakota, of course, are feeling pretty pessimistic about things. There's a little boost of optimism based on the deal that we're talking about over the weekend, but they know that if there's not a demand, it's tough to continue to produce the product and throw it into the supply chain. The oil workers of North Dakota, in many cases, work for smaller companies, so it's not the big multinational. It's nationals. It's more independent producers, and of course, the supply chain is made up of a whole host of other small companies. And right now they're looking pretty like they're in pretty rough shape. And we hope we've found a floor, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, Senator, I want to get to what President Trump addressed with this in particular. He tweeted about this. He says, having been involved in negotiations, to put it mildly, the number that OPEC is looking to cut is 20 million barrels a day, not the 10 million that is generally being reported. If anything near this happens and the world gets back to business after the coronavirus disaster, the energy industry will be strong again, far faster than currently anticipated. Senator, is the president right? Is this reported cut of 10 million really enough to really offset the demand here in the United States?
Well, it's a great point. It's really global demand that drives this, of course, Baker, because the United States is a net oil exporter now, although I suspect that won't be the case for a little while. The $20 million number that he's talking about, 20 million barrel number that the president's referring to, is OPEC plus, and that involves not just the OPEC plus nations, but he's, I think, adding another 10 million roughly of other countries to include the United States, Canada, Mexico, other oil-producing countries that are not part of OPEC plus. All of that said, we have two other problems. We have probably a 30% demand release or decline as a result of COVID-19 around the world, and of course you have, since March 6th, the OPEC plus, Saudi Arabia and Russia in particular, glutting an already glutted supply. And so everything is full to the brim in every tanker, every tank, maybe some swimming pools for all I know. I don't know, but there's way too much oil out there and not nearly enough demand until we get this COVID-19 thing whipped and people start flying and driving again.
Yeah, Senator, I want to pivot and talk about the coronavirus here, because your neighbor, South Dakota, has now kind of been a little bit of a pocket of a hotspot there. We've seen about 300 members of a pork processing plant getting seriously ill. Right now, North Dakota, your state, has about 331 cases of the virus, and your governor is going to announce tomorrow whether or not he plans to reopen bars, restaurants, gyms, all that on April the 20th. That's only about 6 days from now. Would you like to see your governor reopen things, or would you like him to keep things closed as is right now?
Well, first of all, I trust Governor Burgum like I trust Kristi Noem in South Dakota. They're both very good friends of mine. They know their states well. Governor Burgum knows North Dakota well. He's done an excellent job of taking the guidance from the president, applying it to the context of North Dakota, which is not the same as other parts of the country. And North Dakotans are pretty compliant people as long as they have the facts and they think it makes sense. They apply their common sense. And I think North Dakota, as much as any place in the country, maybe more than any place in the country, North Dakotans are probably as prepared as anybody to get back into, ease their way into normalcy while exercising the good, the good things that we've learned about social distancing, washing our hands, doing those common sense things that keep us safe. But Doug Burgum's going to do what he believes and what he, based on data, knows to be the right thing for North Dakota. So yeah, I'm ready to comply with whatever the governor suggests.
All right, I'm glad you bring that up, sir, because obviously there's been a lot of confusion after President Trump's press conference yesterday. Who really has the ultimate authority to kind of dictate what states do? President Trump says it's him. We've been hearing a lot of governors like Andrew Cuomo say it's them. Your Senate colleague, Marco Rubio, said this morning on CNBC that it should be the governors that should be in charge of the social distancing orders, not the president. Do you agree with Senator Rubio there that it should be the governors that do this?
Well, in a word, yes. But I think that that's really played out quite well to this point. President Trump has taken advice from his entire coronavirus task force team of scientists, doctors, of the vice president, the secretaries of the various agencies, including Treasury, and he's made the call based on all of that information day to day. And the call he's made has been to provide guidance, and then it's been up to governors to take that guidance and then apply it to their states in terms of stay-at-home orders, what businesses need to shut down, what businesses need to modify, all of those things. And it's worked quite well to this point. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be up to governors to determine how to reopen as well. Again, with the clear guidance from the experts. But we have to remember that our founders created this system to be exceptional, and it's exceptional for a reason. And this cooperative federalism, I think Donald Trump has made it work better than any president in my lifetime. And I think it should continue to work. So I would say guidance from the president, and based on what he knows, and he has access to a lot of resources that governors don't have, and then the governors applying that information and guidance to their circumstance in their state.
All right. North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, such a pleasure to have you here, sir. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Stay safe out there.
You as well.